So, welcome everyone. Good afternoon from Germany. It's a pleasure to be back, to be here with you all. I'm really glad you're here. Today, in this session, I don't want to begin by teaching you something. As a matter of fact, I want to begin with a personal truth that I have been living and observing in my own life. And this I've been observing in conscious awareness in the last 5 years. There are moments when you that here present, that you are knowing exactly where you're going, but you don't necessarily know what the next step looks like. I can understand that. Yes. And I have to tell you, I have learned that having a vision don't really means having a perfectly clear path. Yes. A vision will challenge you. It will bring moments of uncertainty. It will bring setbacks. Sometimes things simply will not work the way you expect them to. But in my journey, yes, I'm talking about my journey, I come to understand that a setback, in my interpretation of setback, does not automatically means that I made the wrong decision or that the vision was wrong. Yes. Sometimes a setback can mean information. Sometimes it is an invitation for us to refine. Yes. And when I look back on my own professional and personal development, I can see how my journey has been exactly like that. I have been in that challenge, in that setback, but it only brought me more clarity. Yes, the setbacks, the challenge brought me clarity. Yes. So there were decisions that I had made before I had all the evidence. Yes. I made decisions and I was not knowing exactly with that clarity. I was not seeing it. What is after I make this decision? What is going to happen? Yes. I made a lot of that decisions. Yes. Before the evidence was here. And when I look back, I am very proud of it. When I look back, I'm very proud of it. One of those decisions was in that time, 2021, April. One of that decision was I invest in a mentorship with Bob Proctor at a time when, honestly, I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the money. And in that time, it was a moment where I was passing a great adversity. Yes. But something in me knew that this was the part, this decision was part of my path. Yes. And through that experience, I discover principles that open something much more deeper in me, principles that were connected, they are connected with the work of Napoleon Hill and to the potential that exists within every human being. And I began to recognize beliefs that I had carried for a long time. Yes, beliefs about limitation, about what is possible, about what I could have or become. And slowly those beliefs begin to change. Yes, in that time, these beliefs began to change something within me. I began to see myself different. I began to understand that every human being carries the seed of something greater, a capacity, a potential that can be developed. Yes. And eventually, that become much more than just a belief. That become much more than just a belief for me. It becomes something that I really wanted to serve. Yes. That journey that it started in conscious awareness, 2021, April. I'm never going to forget that. Yes. That journey led me without one single evidence that it was the right thing. Yes. Better say it was the right thing, but it was not something that I could grab, that I could be certain. Yes. I was not having that certainty in that time. Yes. But it was through that decision, that journey, that led me into entrepreneurship, into the healing arts, into the work with the human potential, and eventually into conscious leadership, conscious business. And I later became a certified global coach with the Napoleon Hill Institute. And I began building my own work around these principles. And what is fascinating to me now is that when I look back, I can see that many of these principles were already within me. It was present in me. I didn't suddenly become someone different. Yes. I become more conscious of who am I becoming. Yes. And this distinguish matters because development is not always about suddenly knowing more. Sometimes it's about integrating what you already know. Yes. Development is about refining how you think. It's about refining how you decide. It's about refining how you act. It's about refining the way you lead yourself. Yes? Let's make this clear. And the more I have lived this, the more I have understood something very, very, very simple. I don't need to know every step in advance to remain committed, loyal to the vision. But I need to be present. I need to observe today what is possible. Yes. I need to take responsibility for what is mine to do. And when something doesn't work, I ask, what is this showing me? What is this situation showing me? What can I refine? what is becoming clear? Yes, I make questions. And sometimes there is simply a period where the next step isn't obvious. It isn't. But it don't means that I stop. It don't means that I am passive. It means I become more attentive to the present moment. Because the present moment is where I can actually act. So be aware. So today I want to explore this space with you. What do we do when the vision is clear, but the next step isn't? This is what I want to have a conversation with you. How do we stay connected to that bigger picture while fully living in the present? How do we take initiative without needing certainty? How do we recognize when we need to act, when we need to refine, when we need to release? Yes? Because perhaps keep becoming is not about constantly seeing the next thing. Perhaps it's about becoming the person who can meet the next thing when it arrives. Yes? And that is where I want to begin today, in this space. Yes? Because uncertainty, let me tell you, is not necessarily the problem. It's not a problem. Our relationship with uncertainty can become the problem. Yes? It's only a problem when we are not having a good relationship with uncertainty. So with that in mind, I want to move into the heart of this conversation today, because when the next step isn't clear, there is something very interesting that can happen within us, and I want to bring into awareness. Yes? We can start believing that not knowing means something is wrong. We can start searching for certainty before we allow ourselves to move. We can begin to overthinking. We can question our decisions. We can start to compare. We can look outside of ourselves for confirmation. Yes, for evidence. So become aware of it. When we are not having a great relationship with uncertainty, yes, then all this can start really to manifest within us. And we are even not aware of what's happening. Yes. And sometimes without even realizing it, we stop acting, we stop moving. We start to postponing. And not because there is something that we cannot do. There's always something we can do. Yes. But because we are waiting really that to feel that certainty. Yes. So I want to begin the first part with our conversation. And I want to start with a question. So I want to start with a question to you. Yes, to you. So is uncertainty actually a problem to you? Yes. Is certainty a problem? Or have we learned to interpret uncertainty as a signal that we should stop? Yes. Because uncertainty, I'm telling you, is a natural part of becoming. Yes. So be a friend, be friendly with being uncertain. Be comfort in that discomfort, be comfort in that uncertainty, because this is a part of this path, of this greater path, yes, of becoming. Think about anything meaningful in your life, okay? You see, if you really close your eyes and you start to think about a moment of transformation in your life, you're going to see that at the beginning you rarely had the full picture. Yes. You may have a sense of direction. Yes, this is right. You may have a vision. You may have an inner knowing that says, this is where I want to go. This is what I want. But you don't necessarily know exactly how you are going to get there. Not today. Yes. You don't know exactly. And this is where conscious leadership begins. Not in certainty, but in our capacity to remain conscious when certainty is not available. Yes. Because if we require certainty before we act, we can easily confuse waiting for certainty with being responsible. So be aware. And I have to tell you, responsibility, it don't always means knowing. Yes. Sometimes responsibility, you being willing to take the next step with what you know now. Yes. And then paying attention to what the step may reveal after you decide, after you act. Yes. What is that movement is now bringing back to you? Pay attention. That's a very different, it's very different from acting blindly. Yes. Okay. It's also very different from waiting passively. So you act from what you know with responsibility now, what you know now, what is possible now. Yes. This is a conscious movement. So you act, you observe, you learn, you refine, and then you move again. Yes. You act, you observe, you learn, you refine, and then you move again. Today, present, with responsibility. So perhaps the real question isn't how do I eliminate uncertainty? Perhaps the better question is, how do I become capable of moving consciously while uncertainty is still present? This is a greater question. Yes. So if uncertainty is not something we need to eliminate, because it belongs in the development of conscious leadership. This is what it brings us forth. Yes. So if uncertainty is not something that we need to eliminate before we move, this brings us to another important distinction. Because there is another question. Questions are important. The universe is created through questions. Yes. So it's the way we make the question that the answer also will arrive through you. Yes. Because there is another question that often comes up, and we don't know what when we don't know what the next step is. And so the question is, should I do something? This jump out, that comes also into us, this kind of question: should I move or should I wait when that uncertainty is present? Yes, which is natural. Yes, when we are moving in this path, yes, of advancing our inner potential. So should I do something or should I wait? This is true. It is also show up. I made this question so often in my process, yes. And this is where I think we need to become very precise, because you see, stillness and passivity are not the same thing. Yes, when you're still and when you're passive, it's not the same. Yes. Sometimes when we are not acting immediately, is actually a very conscious choice. And sometimes waiting can simply be a way of avoiding, yes, responsibility. Yes. So how do we know the difference between stillness and being passive? You see, stillness is conscious, as I told you, and being passive is often unconscious. You see, I'm going to give you some marks of being in that stillness. Yes, is when you are present. You see, stillness says, I am here. I am paying attention. I am observing. I am listening. I am allowing clarity to emerge while remaining available to what is possible. Yes, this is stillness. This is not being passive. Passivity says, I don't know what to do. Yes. So I will do nothing. When I don't know what to do, I don't do nothing. I'm not clear. Yes. I am not clear. But in that stillness is different, as I was telling you. So there is a difference, and we must be aware of it. But internally, you see, this difference internally is there. Stillness, you are present, and when you are passive, you have withdrawn your participation. And conscious leadership requires participation. Not necessary constantly action, yes, activity, but participation. Look, you can sitting quietly, yes, you can still sit quietly and be observing your thoughts, your opportunities that are showing up, your environment, your responsibilities, your relationships, and what is asking for your attention. And you see, this is not doing nothing, isn't it? Yes. From the outside, may be doing nothing. So it is okay, but you know, you're very present. Yes, you are observing, you are listening, you are paying attention. This is, you are doing something. You are doing something. And that is being present enough to notice really the next step. Yes, in that stillness. And sometimes the most responsible thing you can do is pause enough to understand what is actually happening before you act. But there is, of course, another side of it, because everything has two sides. So I want to bring your awareness. Yes? Be aware. Sometimes we use reflection as a beautiful excuse to avoid taking the step we already know is ours. Yes. We keep analyzing, we keep waiting for the perfect moment. We keep saying, I am still figuring out. But somewhere inside, somewhere deep inside, we already know. We already know. There is something that we can do. There is something that we can do. Yes. And that is where conscious leadership is asking us. Yes. Is asking us to take initiative. Yes. Not because you know exactly with certainty the outcome. Yes. Not because you are certain, but because you recognize your responsibility in the present moment. And you see, maybe it's just a small step. Maybe your step is the next step is a small step that you can do. Yes, in responsibility today. Today. It may be one conversation. It may be one decision made, one person that you contact, maybe one opportunity to explore, maybe one boundary, one boundary that you honor, one action that brings the vision into the present moment. Yes? And then you observe. And then you observe what happened. What did you learn? What needs to be refined? Yes? What needs your attention? Yes? This is where stillness becomes movement. Yes? Not passivity. Stillness is movement. Not because you forced an answer, you never force an answer, but because you remain present enough to recognize the next possibility. So I want to leave you with this question before we go to the next part. Ask yourself, am I truly in a moment of conscious stillness? Or am I using uncertainty as a reason not to act? Yes. And you don't have to judge your answer. Just notice, okay? And once you can see what is happening within you, you have something you can consciously choose from. And this brings us to the third part of our conversation, because once we understand that uncertainty doesn't have to stop us, it doesn't, and it don't. It don't stop us. And that stillness doesn't mean you being passive. We can ask an even deeper question. Yes. Let's go from the surface to the deeper of who you are. How do we hold a vision that it's much bigger than what we actually can accomplish today? Yes, this is interesting, isn't it? Yes. How can we hold that vision that is bigger than what we actually can accomplish today? Because sometimes really we look at the vision, we visualize, and then we look at our present reality. Yes. And there seems to be a huge distance between both. And that distance can make us questioning ourselves, like, am I really moving? Is this enough? Should I be farther by now? Yes. And perhaps we are asking the wrong questions. Because you see, your vision is supposed to be bigger than your today's action. Yes? Your vision should be much more greater. Yes? This is a future that is already existing in your consciousness. It's already connected to you. Yes? You are the bridge. You are the bridge. You becoming is you bringing today, yes, the vision into reality through decisions, through what you are choosing, through what you are paying attention. Yes, understand this. If your entire vision could be accomplished today, it wouldn't require you to become more capable of carrying it. Isn't that so? A meaningful vision asks something of you. Yes. It asks you to develop. It asks you to expand your capacity. It asks you to become someone who can hold what you committed, what you envisioned, what you said you are loyal to, what you said you are, and what your words, what you say. This is the capacity that you have to bring forth, that is already existing. Yes, it is already existing within you. And this is why we have to be careful not to measure our becoming only by today's visible results. Today you might write one page. Today you might make one phone call. Today you might have one difficult conversation. Today you may simply make one decision that is more aligned with who you are becoming. One action can look very small compared to the vision. Yes, I understand that. But the action is not the vision. The action is not the vision. The action is the expression of the vision in the present moment. Okay? And this is something I had to learn myself. I had to walk what I am talking. Yes. And I am still learning. There have been moments in my own journey where the vision I carried was much larger than what I could see in front of me. Yes. I couldn't see how everything could come together, but this is not my job. This is not my job. This is not what I should care about. Yes. I didn't have all the resources. I didn't have all the people. I didn't have all the answers. But I could always ask. And I always do ask. And I always keep asking. What is mine to do today? And sometimes that was enough. Sometimes that was enough. Not because that one action would create the entire future, but because I was practicing the identity required to create it. And this is where I think conscious leadership becomes very, very, very powerful. We stop asking, where is the result? Yes. And we begin asking, who am I becoming? Through the way I am responding in this moment. Because every action is also an opportunity to refine something within you. Your discipline, your integrity, your courage, your ability to make decisions, your ability to remain present, your ability to take responsibility, your ability to release what you cannot control. Yes. Yes, your action, it's an opportunity for you to refine, yes, to release what no longer belongs to you, yes, to refine an old identity so that the new identity can be formed, yes. Your capacity to trust yourself without needing to know everything. This is becoming every day in presence. And sometimes the greatest evidence of your development isn't what you have achieved yet. It is the person you have become while moving towards it. Yes. So when the vision feels very far away, don't abandon the vision. Don't. Simply because today's action looks small. Don't abandon the vision. Remain committed. Trust yourself. Trust a higher plan. Yes. Bring the vision into today. Yes. This is your responsibility. This is your responsibility. Yes. Don't give that responsibility, that power to anyone, to anything. Yes. Ask, what would someone who is becoming this person do today? And then you do it. One conscious step. And then you observe. Then refine. And then act again. Yes. Because the vision, remember, gives you the direction. The present moment gives you somewhere to practice. Yes, gives you the opportunity for you to practice. Yes. And perhaps this is the real meaning of really keeping becoming. Yes. You don't have to become everything today. You don't have to become everything today. You only have to continue becoming through the way you meet today. Yes. How are you becoming? How are you meeting this day, this present moment? How are you meeting it? So be prepared. Be prepared. This is preparation. Yes. So if we bring all this together, I want to take one step further. Yes. And because awareness becomes really powerful when we can actually use it in the moment we are living. Yes. This is where potential becomes power. This is where dream becomes a reality. When we dare, when we take initiative, even when uncertainty is here. We have a great relationship with uncertainty, because now you know that there is always something that you can meet today. Yes, it's your response to life that changed everything. Yes. So when the next step isn't clear, we don't need necessarily another answer. We don't need another answer. Sometimes we need a better question. Yes. The level how we make questions are important for the development. And this is where I want to introduce you what I call the conscious leadership filter. And you see, this is not a formula, okay? And not as another set of rules. This is just an orientation. But as a simple way for you, this conscious leadership filter is for you to come into or pause, yes, in stillness, to reconnect with yourself when you are standing at a point of a certainty, decision, or possibility. Maybe you want to use that in your daily life, okay? Before you act, before you react, before you start trying to control the outcome, you can bring the situation through a few simple questions. Yes, and we already talked about, but I'm going to give you these 5 questions that will filter that conscious leadership. Yes. So you may want to ask, when you are in that point that uncertainty knocks, yes, this, you make a question, is this aligned with the vision that I am carrying? Yes. When uncertainty, when the vision is clear but the next step isn't, you may want to make this question within yourself. Yes. Make the question, is this aligned with the vision that I am carrying? Is this aligned with my highest, greatest good and the greatest good of others? Is this mine to do? Yes, when you are in this situation, what is actually possible from where I am today? What is possible from where I am today? What is this showing me? What is this situation showing me? Yes. What I am being invited to refine. Yes. These are very simple questions, but they are powerful. Yes, especially when that uncertainty is here. Yes. These questions bring you back to yourself. They move you away from urgency and back into conscious choice. Yes, because you have a choice. And perhaps most importantly, they remind you that you don't have to solve your entire future in one time, at one time, in one moment. Yes. You only need to meet this moment that is being present to you consciously. And when you do that, something else becomes possible. You begin to see clearly. Not everything that appears in front of you requires your attention. Not every possibility requires your participation. Not every opportunity belongs to the vision you are carrying. And this is where discernment becomes essential. Because conscious leadership is not only knowing how to act, it is also knowing what deserves your action. What is deserving your action? Yes. So these 5 questions to filter conscious leadership, yes, it brings you clarity. Observe how these questions in awareness simplify your present moment. Yes. And before we close, I want to give you a moment to pause and to integrate. Because awareness is not only something we understand intellectually, it becomes meaningful when we begin to recognize it in our own life. So whatever you are right now, allow yourself here present, beautiful people here present, allow yourself to become a little quieter. And you don't need to write anything down unless you really want. Just take a breath. and bring to the mind the area of your life where the next step isn't completely clear. Yes, in this stillness, bring to the mind that area what is inviting you to change, where life is inviting you to change. Maybe it's in your work, maybe it's in your relationship, maybe it is a decision, maybe it is a vision that you are carrying for a long time. And now instead of trying to solve it, simply observe it. So ask yourself, what is happening right now in this area of your life? What is happening actually? What is happening right now? Not what you fear might happen. Not what you wish would happen. But what is actually here? What is actually here? Take a moment. Be still. Now ask yourself, what is mine to do? What is mine to do? Ask yourself in stillness. Let go. Be still. What is one action that is available to me now? Even if it feels small, it doesn't matter. What am I trying to control that is not mine to control? And perhaps the most important question, what is this moment teaching me about who I am becoming? And don't force the answer. Don't force the answer. Let the question stay with you. Observe what emerges. Maybe something becomes clear. Maybe it isn't. But you see, both are okay. Both are okay. Because integration doesn't always give you an immediate answer. Yes, sometimes no. Sometimes integration simply changes the way you are able to hold the question. And perhaps this is enough for today. You can return to your life from here. Yes, you can always return. So sometimes, okay, can always return. Sometimes we need to mature within that answer. Yes. Sometimes, it's not needing to know everything. In the moment we make question and the answer is still not there, we don't receive it with clarity, yes? We cannot still see it. It is okay. It is okay. We should let go in that moment, yes? We don't need to control everything, yes? What we need is a little bit more consciousness. What we need is a bit more conscious of what is yours, of what is possible, of what your next honest step may be. And before we close, I want to leave you with something very simple. Over the next coming days, I want to invite you to observe yourself, okay? Notice what is moving. Notice what is asking for your attention. Notice where you are being invited to take initiative. Notice what you are trying to control that may not be yours to control. Notice the opportunities that are already here, present. And notice what you are learning about yourself through the way you respond to life. You don't have to judge what you discover. You just become conscious of it. Okay? And I would love for this to become a conversation, not just something that ends when this live session ends. So if something from today's really resonates with you, I invite you to share your reflections. I will post enough throughout this week. You always can reach out, share your reflection. What is the next step in your life that isn't completely clear right now? And perhaps even more important, what is yours to do today? I would love to hear from you in our platforms here. And if this conversation really speaks to where you are in your own journey, stay connected with me. Yes, follow this journey as we continue to exploring what means in the depths to keep becoming. Even when you cannot see the result, okay? Together we will continue exploring conscious leadership, conscious business, and the development of human potential, not simply as ideas, okay? They are ideas, but they are living ideas. It's something that we practice through the way we live, decide, create, and lead every day. So thank you so much for being here. And I want you to remember something during, especially this week, actually is something that you always can return to. You don't have to see the whole path to keep becoming. Remember this. You don't have to see the whole path. You don't have to be certain. You just have to meet the moment. Meet the moment. Take what is yours to do and keep becoming. Okay? Here, Uriah D. I thank you for being here. God bless you. We see us very soon. Thank you so much. So